In the fast-paced world of modern leadership, speed is often mistaken for effectiveness. We celebrate the leader who can make a snap judgment under pressure, the one with an immediate answer. No, the most successful and experienced leaders know that speed without reflection is a dangerous trap. Real effectiveness requires a deeper look at the ripples every single decision sends through an organization. This video focuses on the critical importance of reflective thinking in leadership decisions. We will introduce a powerful, simple habit that can fundamentally change the trajectory of your organization and your legacy. Leadership is not just about the actions you take, it is about the thinking that precedes those actions. Every decision you make creates a ripple effect throughout your entire team and culture. The most seasoned leaders understand that they are responsible for every one of those ripples. To master this level of influence, you must first learn the art of the strategic pause. Reflection is not a sign of hesitation or weakness. It is a sign of strategic depth and a commitment to excellence. It is the practice of looking beneath the surface of problems. Before committing your resources to a solution, you must examine the underlying causes. One of the most effective tools for this is a single, key question that experienced leaders ask themselves daily. While there are many variations, the core question is this: what is the second-order consequence of this decision? Most people only think about the immediate or first-order result of their actions. If there is a problem, the average manager applies a fix that addresses the symptoms, but a reflective leader looks further down the timeline to see how that fix will impact everything. They consider how the decision will change the team and the results 6 months or a year from now. Rushed decisions almost always ignore critical perspectives that are vital for long-term success. When you move too fast, you are operating solely on your own biases and limited information. You aren't giving yourself the space to ask, whose voice am I not hearing right? You miss the opportunity to understand who will be most negatively affected by this change. By rushing, you inadvertently tell your team that their insights are secondary to your personal speed. This habit slowly erodes the very trust you need to lead effectively during a crisis. Reflective thinking clarifies the long-term consequences and the broader team impact of every choice you make. It helps you see the invisible costs of a decision before they become expensive mistakes. For instance, a decision to cut a budget might save money in the first order immediately. However, in the second order, it might destroy team morale and lead to the resignation of your top talent. A reflective leader weighs these human costs carefully against the financial gains. They understand that a win today that creates a loss tomorrow is not a win at all. It is a strategic failure that weakens the foundation of the entire company over time. Real leadership scenarios illustrate how a simple reflective question can dramatically change outcomes. Imagine a leader considering a major change in the remote work policy because productivity dipped for 1 week. A reactive leader would announce the change immediately to fix the dip and feel in control. A reflective leader pauses and asks, "What will this do to our level of trust?" They wonder if this will truly solve the productivity issue, or if it is just a reaction to their own anxiety. By reflecting, they might discover a specific project bottleneck instead. Strategic thinking is essentially the ability to play a mental chess game with your own decisions. It requires the responsibility to own the future, not just the present moment of action. When you cultivate the habit of reflection, you move away from being a manager of tasks. You become a leader of outcomes who values precision over the simple pace of work. This builds a sense of stability and confidence in your leadership that is impossible to achieve through speed alone. Viewers will see how this simple habit improves both trust and results. When a team sees that their leader is thoughtful, they feel safe. They know the leader takes the time to consider the impact on people and avoids damaging knee-jerk reactions. That psychological safety allows them to focus on their best work because they aren't worried. Trust is the byproduct of consistent, reflective, and fair decision-making that values the long-term health. The goal of this approach is to develop a more thoughtful decision-making mindset in all roles. It's about shifting your identity from the person with the answer to the best process. This doesn't mean you become slow or indecisive in the face of challenges. On the contrary, reflective leaders are often the most decisive people because they have already mapped the terrain. They move with a level of certainty that reactive leaders can only dream of having. Consider the impact matrix, a tool where you plot decisions based on immediate benefit versus sustainability. A reflective leader always prioritizes the sustainable quadrant of the matrix. They are willing to sacrifice a small, immediate gain if it means protecting the integrity of the team long term. This is the difference between a leader who builds a career and one who builds a legacy. You are playing the long game, focusing on the health of the entire organization. Another critical aspect of reflective thinking is post-decision analysis after a major project. A reflective leader doesn't just move on to the next task without looking back at the process. They ask, what did we learn about our decision-making? Did the second-order consequences we anticipated happen? This creates a continuous loop of learning and organizational improvement that compounds over time. It ensures that the organization doesn't just grow in size, but also in wisdom and maturity. You are turning every experience into a strategic asset for the future of the company. Patience is a strategic requirement for this level of leadership excellence. You have to be comfortable with the silence that comes after a deep question is asked in the room. You have to be comfortable with not having the fast answer in every single meeting. But as the results start to compound, you will see that reflection is actually high productivity. It is the work that makes all other work easier and more effective. By focusing on responsibility, you realize that as a leader, you are the guardian of the team's energy. Every time you make a rushed, poorly thought-out decision, you are draining that vital energy. Every time you make a reflective decision, you are fueling it and building organizational momentum. You are showing them that you respect their time and their professional lives. This is where true, lasting authority comes from, not from a title, but from thoughtful and deliberate action. Reflective thinking also helps you manage your own ego during the decision process. Often we rush because we want to feel important or decisive in front of our peers. Reflection forces us to confront that ego and ask, am I doing this for the team? This level of self-honesty is what separates the great leaders from the merely good ones. In conclusion, the key takeaway is that your decisions define you as a professional. By introducing a reflective pause, you are elevating your leadership to a completely new level of impact. Take the challenge today. Before you send that next directive email or announce a change, stop. Ask yourself about the second-order consequences and notice how the quality of choice improves. The influence you hold is a privilege, and reflection is the way you honor that privilege. Be the leader who is known for depth, clarity, and a thoughtful approach to challenges. As you move forward, remember that the most successful people are those who think clearly. Reflection is the training ground for that clarity and the foundation of your future authority. Your team is looking for a steady hand at the wheel, not just a fast one. Be the reflective strategist that your organization needs to thrive in this complex and changing world. Thank you for being a leader who values the power of the mind in decision-making. Make reflection your secret weapon. The trust you build will be unbreakable and your results legendary.